Yo, yo, Ether Blood. What's up? I don't know if I actually set up my my screen for actually the workspace. We'll find out. I might be mispositioned a little bit. Like bunching up my shirt. Hurt my back a little bit today. Gotta wear my upper back brace. Very bracing. Hello. I'm working on stuff tonight. I hope you all are having good nights. You all being whomever is watching this right at this moment or later. I'm gonna try to fix my camera. Burn, I hear you become quite the consummate musician. How are you tonight? Mr. Burns, if you will. I hope you're doing excellent. Doesn't work. Maybe here. I find as I'm getting older, being far away from the screen and trying to be positioned to the camera doesn't always work well. You're like, you young kids, you have no idea what I'm talking about. That's not true. Some people actually have vision issues. Hey, Killboy. How are you tonight? How's life in the security lane? Hopefully going well. I was trying to get this stupid grid thing to work here, but it's not working. I'm not going to worry about it tonight. The data is there. It's just the UI sucks. So since we last talked, I was working on this grid system. So now I actually have, I think, a pretty clean system. Better now that you have coffee? Well, I have product placement. Hashtag not sponsored. I've been feeling really drained lately. I'm really drinking too much Monster. In general, I need to stop. But it's just so good. Anyway, I guess I dabble. Yeah, I know. That's funny. So yeah, I've been just working on stuff. Yeah, I got this thing working. Got battle grids. So I even set it up so that instead of having a front and back, I just color coded it so that the green represents the front and the blue represents the center point. Pretty cool. Now I'm gonna wire it up. Actually, the audio is better. It's a bit loud for me. I guess I could turn my volume down, but yeah, so I'm gonna keep working on this stuff here. Can't stand energy drink. I knew someone who drink a dozen at a time though. Yeah, I can't stand coffee. That's my real problem. If I could drink coffee, then maybe I would just do that. 6 seems like a lot. I do need to cut back, but I have not started cutting back yet. I'm not making good choices, and that's how it's going to be, I guess. Okay, so whatever. We have a way now to represent the grid to be used during battle. So now we're going to make, hopefully, battles work where the characters are placed based on that grid. And who knows if it's going to work or not. It's going to be great. Is it light roasts that have more caffeine or dark roast? I think it's light roast, right? Light roast has more caffeine because they don't cook it as much. This is small game builder code. So this is going to be kind of interesting because I have to I'm kind of bastardizing their system to use for my system. And I've got to figure out how I'm going to make it work. They're less bitter. Right. I can drink coffee. I just don't normally like it. And if I'm going to drink it, I'm going to need other things added to it. And I noticed my wife would get me coffee. Once I'm like, oh, I'll start drinking some coffee. But she'd go get a mocha or whatever they are. I don't even know. And it started hurting my stomach. Excuse me. And I have stomach issues for sure. All right. So anyway, when we last saw our coder here, I have this graphy thingy here, and I'm gonna go. I've basically just stolen this Smile Game Builder battle system, and I'm gonna see if I can make. This is not Java, Revo, Wander, Lucius. I don't know how to say the last part. This is C#. Are you a Java aficionado? This is also not strictly my code. Well, a lot of it is this particular code I'm looking at now. This is from the Smile Game Builder engine. Don't need this, right? Battle monsters count. That's fine. And then what do I do? Monster data. Fluid attribute. We don't use that. I'm learning. Finishing your Java core. Okay, so are you in college then? Or university, as they call it sometimes? I don't know if this is going to work. Will my code work? Will this be effective? Let's see how the waiter's set up here. Divided map scene. We don't care about any of this. This is all the background stuff. I could actually probably just skip all of this and just run this thing here. Why is it loop? Oh, this is their waiter. Oh, I see. So then I guess I can do, like, if I just copy their garbage here, I can just paste it and then comment. Doing it yourself. Oh, okay. Are you doing game development in Java, or are you using it for something else? Like, what is the purpose from learning wise? Just to be able to like work on your own things? Or are you trying to find work doing Java work? Java is a good language to learn in that it's very ubiquitous. I never really liked it because it's very verbose. Sorrow. Hey, I never texted you. I'm sorry about that. My Thursday and Friday were quite insane. We should find time. I did talk with Don Ho, but yeah, we should find some time to chat. I can tell you so much stuff. Whether it's good or bad, you'll decide, I guess. Okay, where am I going here? So this is, if false is returned here, the script update will be canceled. I don't really care about that, honestly, but okay. Because there's like, this is the waiter. Oh, this is the waiter, the entire waiter. Oh, okay. That's fine. So then the only other thing I got to figure out is the placement of each monster. I think I should check to see if my code like if the game actually runs. Oh, no, still. I guess we'll see where it goes. That's fair. I mean, you know, it's good to learn programming, says the programmer. I technically, in my day job, don't have to program. Am I stuttering? Did I stutter? Let me look at my... I'm getting 3,000 kilobits a second. Kilobit? 3,400. I hope I'm not stuttering. Please tell me I'm not stuttering. I've noticed occasionally when I'm streaming that like my camera jitters for some reason. No one, Revo, is responding, so that's not a good sign either. Oh, I forgot I was supposed to go on my YouTube. I multi-stream to YouTube, but the YouTube doesn't really do anything. I mean, to be fair, I'm not actually trying very hard. If I were trying to make a go of actually, streaming and stuff, I'd probably do more than I do now. But I just don't have the energy for it. Okay, so the YouTubes are going now. Let's go see if this works still or not. Let's see if it breaks. While we're coding. That's an interesting effect happening right there. What is that? Am I in the wrong scene? Oh, I'm on the wrong. How did I get into that scene? So weird. I don't know why it's stuttering, but I'm sorry about that. That is sucky. I have mixed experience with YouTube. Either gets low to people or no. If I were to do RPG in a box stuff, I'd get more traffic. But I don't want to. I kind of want to, but I don't want to because I got too many things going on. All right, let's see if we break everything or if it works. I mean, those are two options, right? Oh, I forgot to switch my switch to turn it on. Let's try again. I'm impressed that loaded anything. Oh, right, because I didn't use my my new thing. Let's see. On map battles. Having the audience helps, yeah. I mean, that's with anything, right? Having an audience for anything you're doing that involves work or income, you gotta somehow create or find an audience. I'm not talking about like the audience that watches you. I'm talking about a group of people who have similar or shared interests, things I've learned in marketing. Or even just like shared audiences. So like ancillary to whatever it is. Do I have any monsters on this one? Let's see if this works. A lot of things I've seen about people who do streaming, they start out with one desire, and then they realize in order to achieve more traffic, they've got to sort of adjust what that desire is. They've got to meet the audience where they are rather than do what they want to do. So I think that for some people that can be a bit challenging. Oh, right, because I didn't do layout stuff. Okay, so I do need to figure out the layout stuff. That's so. So let's think about this. We need to figure out where the monster is going to go. Is monster num a point? What is this? Where does value come from? Oh, this is interesting. Actually, well, that is actually interesting. So this is... I must not be calling my logic here. Am I not calling it? Yeah, nothing's calling it. Okay. That makes a little more sense. Okay, so I need to call it. It won't work if I don't use the thing that I meant to use. We'll figure that out. So basically the small game builder script runner, I copied their map battle solution or their battle solution, then I retrofitted it to work on the map. But then I realized there's so many properties it wants to use, I should just put the whole method in here, but then I forgot to actually use it. So what I need to do is make it happen. I wonder how I'm going to do this actually. Because the way that my node system works, it creates commands. Wait, I know how to do it. Okay, hold on. So we're going to do this. Script builder. Runtime code. And then we can actually just give it execute map battle since it's the same format. And so this then will run that code. But I still didn't figure out how I was going to place the characters anyway, so I still do that. Where do I do that? This is the center point. Cannot make center get used. Oh, I commented out. Okay. So I don't care about this part. I do care about this part. So I do need to make this part work. I don't remember what this even means. So I got to go find out how it works. So the monster num, I think it's like the count. Is it the count of monsters? It must be. Oh. New point monster num. That doesn't make any sense. It's weird that it's using monster num here. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's I thought it was instantiating, but it's an array. That's dumb. They're creating an array here that is of the size of the monsters. Okay, I guess that's fine. So then, how does it use layout? Like, where does it use it? For each, so this is show where it actually. Oh, I see. So this is it. Okay, got it. So they use it somewhere below this. Okay, where is it? Still a script runner. So then, where is it? There? Okay. So this is the place where it passes in the layout. And the layout is just a series of these point objects, which are the Microsoft XNA points. So then I need to do some magic here. Okay. Got it. So then we're going to do, I think it's monster count is what I called it. Then now I don't actually have any idea how their numbers work. Is there going to be a series of positive and negative numbers? So I think I need to look at how my normal map battle works. So place battle command. And I think it's like front? No, not front. Position? Set? No, that's not. Gotta find out where it's at. So they have some settings in here. Somewhere out there. I thought they had some settings in here. Maybe. Where did I set these at? Oh, it's in here. Okay, that's. I'm really confused why I couldn't find it. So then this is their row positions. Okay. Dak Ride, thanks for the follow. Okay, so we use. So this is. I want to explain this because in the process of explaining it, hopefully I will also remember this particular pane. So Smile Game Builder is the core engine that I imported into Unity using their import, using the Smile Game Builder importer. This engine's really old now. Very old, very, very old because they have a whole new system that they use.
It's a dragon. It's a dragon, and he's got a face. And he goes,
Rawr.
"Rawr, I'm Matzi. Blah, 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 blah."
Why is it when people show up, they do that? Hey, Zezinal. Is it Zezinal? Thank you for the follow. So I said that right. So small game builder. Where was I? Here we go. I miss eonometry. We just had good times, you know, to make him sing all the time on stream. So the way their battles work, their built-in battle system is a whole different map, and in Unity that translates into a whole different scene, which also incidentally translates into slower performance. So I'm trying to translate or convert their system into on-map battles, which is fun. I actually have it working on map, but I have to get the characters placed appropriately. So the main characters go in the right spot. Hello from Brazil. I don't know any Brazilian Portuguese, so I'm just going to say hello. I'm Brazilian. I love your pronunciation of my nickname. Did I say it wrong? Zezinal. Or, yeah. Well, if you're Brazilian, is your L a double L? Like a Y sound? Instead of a L sound, like an American, I'll say it that way. L. So this is how they do their layouts of the characters, the monsters. The problem is they set it up so the front is as if the camera's like above, like it's above the character. So they make all these weird offsets based upon the positioning being above the character when the battle starts. We rotate the camera, so everything gets all wonky with how these maps work. So I actually don't yet know how I'm going to translate their numbers into my numbers, but I'm going to try. I got 2 people from Brazil here, though. It's nice to have you guys here. South America. Got to be pretty nice out there. Warm, I assume. Closer to the equator than I am. I am in Minnesota. We have row positions, and we have... Oh yeah, like this is weird because the camera angle makes it look like the axis is flipped. So we're using labels to make it easier. Spoiler alert, it didn't make it easier. So offset X and offset Y. So I must convert. How did I do this? Did I not end up using my row positions? Maybe I just never ended up using that. That's weird. Oh, that's also weird. So front is -1. I'll see if I can just translate these back into the numbers that they have. Based upon the grid coordinates that we're working with. It's going to get a bit annoying. How am I going to do this? This is going to make my brain hurt. So, I suppose for the starting point, I could probably just like hard code it. We only have one monster. So for now, I'm just gonna totally just hack it. I don't remember what the so the row positions are -1, -2, -3. The other value is for, in this case, it's gonna be up and down. So it's actually those are the rows. So 0 is gonna be the middle, I think. I'm going to put 0 down here. We'll see how that works. I'm not even going to play. I'm not going to mess with any of the other things. We're just going to see what happens if I can just get this thing to work. That's what I want to do. You can see I was getting some index out of bounds exceptions. If you are new here and you don't know what I'm working on, because I'm bad at introducing it, this is Alterium Shift. Retro-inspired JRPG. JRPG or RPG, depending on people's preference on what you call game. Obviously, AS did not work as my command. Perfect. Probably because Streamlabs decided to stop working again. Hold on a second. It just seems like randomly Streamlabs will stop being a bot. I'll get you the link in a second. Clear all that out. Cloudbot, come on. Cloudbot was sleeping on the job again. Sorry about that. Oh, there you go. Thanks, LaserBot. Okay, so then... Whoa! That's pretty cool. Are they raving? They're going on, they're doing a rave. I mean... I'm sure something in the back end is just like completely flipping out. That's pretty crazy. No idea what just happened. But I kind of liked it. Okay. Anyway. So then there might be some issue because... No, I don't think so. Preparing... I wonder if preparing state gets used anywhere else. Let me see if this gets used. Yeah, it does. Okay. So I need to make preparing state equal 3. I think otherwise it's like looping around and starting over. I'm trying to like, I'm trimming down their code. I'm cutting things out. That was pretty cool though. I like the rave effect. Get down and boogie. That's the kind of game. I watched this 1:20 long video about Sea of Stars over the course of a couple days. Now, I don't have any qualms about the creators of that game being successful, but that game does not suit me very well. I didn't get connected to it. Like I hear everyone like, it's so amazing. And the guy who did this video perfectly encapsulated all the things that didn't feel right about the game to me. It's completely unrelated to characters doing raves. It's just top of mind. I don't even know why I thought of it actually. Probably gonna just finish watching it. See, found it quite interesting though. Try again. I mean, I feel like I gotta capture the raves. Let me go get my recorder. You could make them move slower. It might be moving too fast for the frame per second. I will do like 60 frames per second. I won't need very much recording. Man, they are having a good old time there. It's gonna call it rave. So I believe this is part of it, but that must not be the only reason it's doing that. Preparing state, there must be some other... I might have to turn the debugger on again. Because I mean, I have no idea what's going on. Well, we're going to find out. One thing I'm going to try is... once I get the debugger going, is seeing if it's just a recurring problem. Are you a Gravity developer? I mean, I exist in Gravity. Do you mean like the company Gravity, like Ragnarok Online? I'm gonna try defying gravity. Gravity, for some reason, reminded me of indie dev that streamed years ago. Was there Studio Atma? I don't know any of those people. No, I am not a Gravity developer. We are an indie dev shop. We did, for a period of time, have a arm of Gravity called Gravity Game Arise as our publisher, but that agreement has recently ended. So we are, again, a solo indie dev studio. What are they doing here? Turn on me debugger. Hold on, I want to go show this to Jacob. I think Jacob will really appreciate the rave effect. Actually, I'm going to put it in developer channel. Developers. Development. Chatty Games. Let's go. This opens on the screen I want it to. Oops. It's rave time. I wonder how it's so amazingly bad. Don't know what they're up to today. The Gravity Peeps? I never knew them in the first place, so I wouldn't even be able to guess. Okay, so let's go try this. Doing online content is hard. I love that people make it look so easy. There's people who've been streaming or making videos for years, and they've cultivated whatever their personality trait is, and they're just like really good at making it look easy. But then you can find out like the amount of work they have to put in behind it. Insane. In the game trailer, we are working on updating all that stuff now. Our agreement recently ended, so we're in the process of unwinding it. So hopefully soon we'll have the rest of like the Gravity logos pulled out. But it'll probably be a while before we're fully able to extract those from everything. But yeah, we're not. They're not our publisher anymore. But we wish them well, obviously. And it, even if they were our publisher, we still wouldn't be, or they still wouldn't be. Well, we wouldn't be their developers, right? Because we're our own developers. But as a publisher, they would, provide support in various ways. Okay, so let's see where we get hung up here. I think we can get past the battle monsters. I think we'll have a monster list of 1. Yeah, that should be expected. I have a feeling it's something to do with... Ooh, which code, actually? Where are we? It might be something to do with this code. I'm actually not sure now. Let's see. Enter position is set. Did it not get the layout set up? Uh-oh. So wait a minute. Oh, I think I should just make it do the monster setup. I wonder if it's getting stuck because there's no monsters? It might be, because it didn't do the monster layout setup, and it definitely should have done that. Yeah, well, we got the rave going. Got that. This is now going to be implicit. While runner command, I don't care about any of this. So I'm just gonna do it. Just do it. What are you waiting for? That guy, whatever his name was, Shia LaBeouf. It's kind of interesting having a publisher based out of Japan. They were quite nice people. I kind of wish I had more fluency in Japanese because it'd be fun to talk to them in Japanese, but I have very little capability there. My builds are going to be a little bit slower because I have the debugger running. Sorry, and still sorry. Not even not sorry. I'm really hoping tonight at least I could get the monsters placed appropriately. As long as I can get them put onto the map, I can mess with the numbers. So once I can get this node working and I can get the monsters placed, then we'll have some interesting stuff happen. I hope. I think I should still probably turn on the debug though, just in case. Not totally confident this will solve the problem. All right. Let's see here. I don't need this one because I already used it. So let's take a look at the layout. Does this work or not? That's the question. Okay, so that's going to give a good point. That's good. Then it's going to stop. Perfect. So then we got to see what happens down. Oh, doopy. What? Oh, I think that's intentional. Nope, that's not intentional. Wait, what's going on here? So let me go back. It definitely skipped something. Now I gotta figure out what's going on here. So then let's see if we get... Do we get back here? I mean, we're not in the waiter. Where's the waiter? Check, please. If false... Oh, wait a minute. Do I never even get down here? Is that the problem? They just get stuck in like a never-ending state. So they're... Oh, this is really annoying. Never-ending story. Okay, so then we're gonna do... Okay, I know what's going on. They've got this weird... Like the way that they do in their code, these like cases... the reason this is stupid is because it has a return. I don't even know if I need to do a return. I guess it's just because it allows it to execute other things in the middle of this. This is what? This is doing battle start. So this is supposed to be the thing that starts the battle. Okay. So I probably need this to return if preparing state. Which it should equal 0. Because they kind of rely on these multiple loops on the same thing. I wouldn't normally write code this way, but kind of understand why they did it. It's just not my favorite code. The problem is like the way it was performing before, it would never proceed. Right? Let's think here. So if preparing state is 0, it adds 1 and returns true, which then would force it to come back. And then it would add another one. But don't I set preparing state? Oh, I do, right? Okay, but it's in the waiter. Okay. So then if it were 3 or 2, right, my code would always return. That's the problem. Okay. We're good. We're good here. We'll figure this out. So next step is getting this node to be able to run the battle. And honestly, it will be really beneficial if I learn this portion because I've sort of relied really heavily on their script runner, which is 3,000 lines of case statements. And part of that was because I just wasn't fully sure how their update loop worked. But after working with this thing for so long, I kind of have an understanding that it doesn't matter as much as I thought it did. And if I'm able to pull out some of the logic from the scripts, at some point I can just, rip this thing to shreds, essentially. That's my theory. But that's just a theory. A code theory. And bug. Let's go. Come on, thing. I think I have a debugger running. Really slow on the editor. Okay. Let's go back to some code. Or just running the game. Let's see what happens. Are we going to become a rave again, or are we going to make it to the next level? Because that would be some seriously next level stuff. Literally. We don't need that. We did get to the next level. That's good. So then, let's see what happened on the front end. Okay. So we made it into battle. Good to know. We were able. I wonder if the battle will run though. Only one monster. You missed, old man. Okay. So evidence that this works is good. So if other issues come up, they come up, but it's not going to be that big of I mean, I'll figure out how to fix those. Right now it's an infinite loop, but that's fine. Okay. So that's good. That was one of the things I needed to confirm. Confirmation complete. Yay. So now I need to figure out how to get the boar that is on the map to be the thing that is in the battle. I guess I could get rid of all this crap now. Don't need it. What are the commented crap that I have here? Don't need this either. I know I haven't actually figured out the points, but I just want to now see if I can get the monster itself to be part of the battle. So what we have to do, I think, where's battle start? Battle starts right here. So I think this is the thing that makes the monsters get started. And here's where we provide the points, the location. So I need to figure out now how I can get the monsters to pull from the existing map if they exist. Because so battle start is going to call. I don't think add enemy data matters. What does this do? Oh, it might. Okay, hold on a second. Monsters, where are the monsters? These are just monster GUIDs. At the moment, we're just adding monster data, but there's also something that's like generate monsters, I think. No, I think it's the... Hold on. Battle start calls... Battle viewer battle start. Okay. So this is the thing that actually makes it start up. And enemy monster data is just data. The data does contain things like where the monsters are ranged, which I'll have to mess with later. And all the data of the monster, but it doesn't contain the monster's character on the map. So then we go into this battle start, and that's not what we go into. Hold on a second. We know we're going to be battle viewer 3D map. This is our new one. The one that's going to be called is this battle start here. Okay. So down in here, we call prepare enemies. So this is where I have. So now I have to figure out how I can get a monster that is tied to a map object to be prepared here. This currently only has the enemy data for the monster, and then when it does the generate, it like does all these things for getting the characters. So then maybe this is I wonder why they did character here. That's weird, because I don't think their monster data has I don't think they have character data. They have all the data of the monster, but they don't have the object. Oh, they have the ROM, but that's just the ROM of the monster. They don't have the ROM is just the like the monster data. It doesn't. It represents, I think, the graphic. Oh, it does have the graphic. So doing this, I would kind of like override some of their logic. Okay, I guess. But I have to associate the monster with an object on the map. Okay, so in here, they go in and for each of the characters, they call generate enemy. And this thing is going to do, it's going to create something to place on the map. So what I need to do is figure out the least crappy way to get my version of the map character in here. So let's think about a couple of options, because I have a few I could think of. One idea, I suppose, is it doesn't even pass in the monster ID. It's just literally the image. That's insane. They don't tie the battle actor to the data directly. Which I guess makes sense. You don't need the actor to have the same data. I think I went through this whole debate last time with the characters. So in this context, I don't have any information that would let me generate the enemy with an existing map character. What I'd literally be better off doing is having a whole different like generate map enemy and passing in an existing GUID if it exists. And if it doesn't exist, it will create the map character. Or not even the GUID, passing in an existing map character. So let me think here real quick. How did I do it for the prepare enemy? Prepare generate friend from map. Okay. So in this case, I had modified this so that it would take in a map character. So I suppose what I could do is do generate enemy and do an optional map character. And if the map character is passed in, I can mess with it. And if it's not, I can create it. That seems like the best approach I could come up with. So what I'll do here, I used to hate this way of formatting, but it has grown on me because even though it's like bulky, at least I can read the properties and not have to like scan to the right. It feels easier. I don't, like, and I used to code when my code looked like this. Maybe not that far away. But since I've been streaming and getting older, my code has started to look more and more like this. This is really great for old eyes to read. Geriatric coder, that's me. I don't C#, if you know what I mean. Okay, we're good. We'll make the map character equal null. And then if there is a map character... Wait, is there more than one generate enemy? No, there's only one generate enemy. That's weird. I thought it was more code. Okay, oh, whatever. We'll say we'll set it to a no, I don't want to create an allocation if I don't need to. So this will equal the map character. Oh, interesting. I could do like the poor person's. I could do like map character equals. Can I do like this? Can I do like? What's the question? The poor person's ternary operator. The only ternary adjacent. It's not a ternary because it's just if it's null, make it new, and then I pass it in for S's and G's. I don't want to mess with the rest of the stuff. Actually, I guess I could just change it, right? So we do like this, and then look at how much code I'm saving. One line, but easy to read. That is how you do it. This is how you do it. Not by using ternary operators, but by using a single line that takes the place of if this value is null, initialize it. That's the right way to syntactically sugar your code. Sugar, oh, honey, honey. Okay, so then we go back to our map. So now I need to figure out how this is going to work. So in our start battle, our battle start, I almost think I need to pass in... No, because I'm overriding. Crap. I hesitate to give battle enemy data any information about existing map objects. It's sort of this programming paradigm where you want to separate your concerns. There really isn't any reason for the data to know about the object it represents. If you want something that represents that, you do something else like they do, where they have a battle actor that knows about the data or something. But not the other way around. You don't need the data to know about the actor. It does make certain things more complicated. But so then I need to find a way to give the battle viewer the knowledge of the monsters that are associated with ones that are shown on the battlefield. So then I need to do what? What am I going to do here? Talk to myself. That's what I'm going to do. Pair enemies. Hold on a second. Oh, bollocks. So I might actually have to override prepare enemies. They don't really want Battle Viewer 3D to be involved in this experience. Battle Viewer is the old way. My new code is new way. I don't want to like retrofit their thing. So now I still have to figure out how I'm going to get that data into generate enemy. And I suppose that I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned copy pasta way. When in doubt, just copy the entire thing and paste it. Y'all ever seen those graphs where they make a joke where it's like the bell curve and the people on the left side of the curve usually do it by intelligence or whatever. You know, they would be like the lower performers and then the middle performers and then the high performers. And it's always like the high performers and the lower performers would give the same answer but for different reasons, and the middle one would be like, no, well, it depends, and they get all hung up on all these details. I feel like I've finally gotten to the right side of the curve, or the left. You know what? I'll take either one. Where I used to hate copy and paste, and now I'm like, it's fine. We'll refactor it at some point. It's fine. You know what? Copy paste to your heart's content. Deal with your own consequences. Live with it. Live in it. The great thing is the reason that I actually endorse it isn't because I actually like the idea of copy paste. I really actually hate the notion that you have two sets of code that are exactly the same or mostly the same with a couple changes. The reason I endorse it is because I endorse branching by abstraction. Oh, that sucks. Why is this not available? And because I endorse branch by abstraction, it sort of necessitates some of this. The theory being, of course, that at some point you're going to replace the thing, or you'll do something that like completely rearranges how this code works. So you kind of, it necessitates some of this, because the other thing I've come to realize is working code is paramount. If the code works, don't F with it. Sorry. If you really want to replace it, leave the working code and create a branch of code where you can turn on a feature and then use it. And if it breaks, turn it off. But at least you know there's something that's working. For some reason I look at generate enemy, I was like, is that spelled right? Generate. Yes, it is. It looked wrong to me. Okay. Irrelevant to the work I'm doing. Focus, Matzi. You can do this. So how am I getting the character now? How did I do this? Oh no, it's because it happens in a different spot. Generate friend from map. So how did I get the character from the map? I did it this way. Okay. So now I need a different way. Okay. So in my place battle command, I have a list of monster data that may or may not have GUIDs. So inherently, I need to find the association between the monster I'm referring to and the GUID of the monster placement. But it needs to match the list that exists. So then what I need to do before we even start doing the battle stuff, or maybe like right here, or wait, how do I do the battle sequence manager? Okay. I don't know why don't I just like why don't I extract this into a variable? I don't want to extract a class. Can I extract this into a variable? Where's my extract? There we go. No, stupid. Okay. Never mind. It's almost bugging me enough that I want to extract it. So, I'm going to. I'm going to do this. Now, I own this code now. It's my code. And therefore, I'm going to do what I want to do with it. I'm going to do this. Oops. Stop. I'm going to do that. And I'll replace it with the words battle sequence manager, like so. And I'll make some bad choices for just a half a second. I'll go back up and be like, oh, I just broke something. How did I break it? Because I'm saying battle sequence manager equals the same thing, but I fixed it. We're good. Now I have one thing I can refer to. So I need to get the battle, the map battle object, and I need to load it with data. So we're going to do current battle viewer 3D map. And I don't actually have a property in here, so I probably need to go get the property or make a property. So I'm going to make a property. Why are you up at the top? Why not? Is this? Oh, there's no properties in this class. That's weird. So I'll make a property. Public. No. Yes. Public. It's going to be a public list of GUIDs, I think. Or hash set. It'd have to be a hash set. Because we don't want to have duplicates of it. And we'll call this the map monsters. Map monster IDs. There you go. So this is going to be the thing that represents any map monsters. Because of the get set. I don't know if I need to do a get set. I could probably just do a get with a clear, but I'll do get set because I don't care that much. Okay. So this is like IDs of any. I like click on it and start typing, and then I lose focus on it for some reason. Monsters on the map, that will be monster. That will be included in the battle. Okay. These are going to be the map monster IDs that get pulled in should they exist. Then what I can do here is map monster ID. Oh crap! Did I not make it capital? Supposed to be a property, friends. Get off my property. Well, wait. Get in my property. So then we need to do monster. This dot battle monsters dot select. Look at that. Oh, but that's not what I want. What is the actually? What do we have? I think it's going to be map event ID. Yes, that's what it's going to be. Yes, that's what we call it. So then we need to do a get var result equals, and actually we need to return a GUID.empty. If it's not null or empty and it doesn't equal the word current, well, if it's current, what would I say for that? It would be the current object being referenced. How would I do that? Doing monsters visible on the map, or is the map monster just a list of monsters for the area? This ketchup, it's yes. I'm converting the Smile Game Builder's battle system, which happens on a different map, to work on the map. It has been a journey, and I still don't know where the destination lies in this adventure of mine. But yes, that is what I am doing right now. And I've been doing a lot of converting their code into something that is more manageable for the needs I have. But it's a, you know, it's been a thing for sure. Okay. Nope, I don't want that. This battle monsters. That's okay. So I don't want that. I want X gonna give it to you, but I want this map event. 2 hash. There you go. Perfect. How are you, Just Catch Up? Hopefully you're just catching up on things. I don't know if you know about the game I'm working on, but this is it right here. That's funny. He's like, this catch up. Why don't you just catch up? I like both styles, but I think I enjoy being able to see. Well, we have on-map monsters, and if I didn't just break everything, I could probably show it to you. Did I not break it? I don't think I broke anything yet. Did I? Let me see here. I just want to make sure before I build that I haven't broken anything major. Prepare enemies. I don't think I changed anything with it yet. Battle start. No, I haven't changed. Okay, so I should be able to show you what it looks like. Well, while it builds, I'll at least show the game, so you can see a little bit what it looks like. So this is Gravity game. Oh, don't pay attention to that. This is Alterium Shift. The Gravity was our publisher, but they're not anymore. Why is it doing that? There you go. So this is Alterium Shift. You can see it's a lot of on-map stuff that happens. I don't know if it showed the battles for some reason. There should be a battle in here somewhere, I think. There you go. But also, it's funny actually, none of our pictures show the monsters on map. Should probably correct that, I think. All right, well, I'll show you because you'll see it. But what you saw in a lot of those pictures with the battles is those were different maps. And the way the engine within the engine works on here that I've been doing tons of modifications to, it would create a whole new scene and do a bunch of extra work to set up that scene for the battles. I suppose that's what you'd have to do if you're going to have a different scene for battles, but the way Smile Game Builder system does it's kind of annoying. And so I'm working on getting it so their battle system works on top of the map. So any jankiness here is because I'm still in the process of smoothing out how it works. Like that monster right there is what I'm trying to get to be the one that's bouncing around up there. But I have to change a little bit about how the underpinnings work. It's me and one other person. I'm the only core dev. We do have a contractor that's doing stuff. And even the whole battle system I'm in the process of fixing up. And we'll be at PAX this year. I don't know if you go to events like that, but we'll be there. We've been there PAX West. We've been there the last 2 years. So this will be our third time at PAX. It'll be a good time, had by all. So yeah, that's sort of what our system looks like. There is a demo on Steam if you're interested in trying it out. While it is in early access, I know not everyone likes early access. There's actually quite a few people who believe early access means the game's done, but there's bugs. And it's like, no, that's not what it means. The game's not done and there's more work to be done. We were kind of, moved to do this with our previous publisher. We didn't totally disagree, but we were kind of hesitant about doing early access, but we are where we are now. So we're doing what we can to make ends meet. Prepare enemies. Let me see here. So what I wanted to do at this point, this is going through each enemy. So I want to get the, but hash set. Oh crap. I can't do a hash set because it has to be a list, because I have to get the numbers in order. So it can't be a hash set, unfortunately. Is it still running? No. So this actually does have to be a list. But it's fine. I try to use hash set. Every time I try to use hash set, I'm like, nope, can't be hash set. Just not as many use cases for hash set. It's like Octopath 3D. Yes, that's right. Actually, what's interesting to me is Jacob and I were talking about this today. Wandering sword. Oh, wandering. That's not what I wanted. Come back here. There's this game called Wandering Sword on Steam. They had a pretty successful launch, even more so than like Sea of Stars or Chained Echoes. And this is like Octopath Traveler. Like they just took the whole aesthetic and they took their own flavor of it. But we were just discussing how a lot of people really like this particular aesthetic. I like our aesthetic because I grew up playing games like Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana. So I preferred those ones. But I don't dislike this aesthetic. It's just not my visual genre or something. I don't know what you call it. We'll, someday, provided we find success with what we're doing, we'll probably make a game in that aesthetic or maybe slightly different, but similar. Okay, so I have Battle 3D map. So what I need to do, Meow, is in the prepare enemies. I like your colors and art better. Octopath is too Twilight Princessy. Yeah, Octopath is also a bit like there's too much bloom, and I've heard. And I've never played Octopath. I am not the one who made everything pretty, though. I clearly I'm not because I'm the one writing the code. I have a ton of opinions on what would make something look good, but I'm not the person doing the look goodness of it. That's my partner on the project. And some others too. Like we are getting some art help in various ways. There's not 100% just Jacob, my partner, on this, but it is a lot of us doing things. What I meant by Twilight Princess: dark and low saturation, all the bloom. Yeah. I've seen there is a I think the Octopath and similar games that I don't particularly enjoy, but I know there's nothing wrong with it. It's just these games feel like they are 3D games with a veneer of pixel. So the pixel is more like a visual texture style, but it's clearly a 3D game. And I like that our game uses more of a... You almost, at first blush, you can't 100% be sure that it's not just a 2D pixel game. Until you start playing it and you see how the world moves around it, and you're like, oh, it's actually 3D. But like, there's a lot of pixel games that are on that uncanny valley of 2D versus 3D. I like the 2D aesthetic, but I like the flexibility of 3D. And so we try to like really hone in on making it feel like a pixel game, but then there's this hint of depth to it. At least more than a hint, because we even do this thing where like the whole world shifts around, i.e. the whole impetus for the game name was shifting the world, right? Alterium shift. I know, surprise. But we also didn't build this game like we didn't build this game like some people do, because we started out with just an idea like, oh, let's take this aesthetic and do something with it. And so while we took it seriously, some people like really know in their heads what the lore of their game's going to be, and we've kind of evolved it over time. Oh, is your game done now? We weren't allowed to talk about this, but in the last... So since from January to July, we were in a process of terminating our agreement. Oh, by the way, hi, Tom. I said hi, Tom, in my head, but I didn't actually say it with my mouth. Yeehaw, back at you. We were in a process of terminating our publisher. And it's a long process to go through that. And it was very much time consuming. So there's people on the Steam community board saying, why haven't you made updates? Is the game dead? It's like, nope, we've been working on it, but it's been really hard to work on that and deal with termination stuff. And we were holding off on releasing any updates until we could get the termination stuff sorted out. So we've had a huge delay in what we're trying to do. It has really sucked in some ways because we wanted to be really focused on the project, but we couldn't focus on the project dealing with a bunch of other stuff. You're like a higher angle, like older. Yeah, it's a 32-degree angle, I think. Octopath tried to make the sprites at the same angle, but a much lower 3D angle to make it stand out. Super weird. Yeah, and I loved RPGs as a kid, but then I joined as a kid, as in the 90s, just to date to age myself. And I wasn't even a kid; I was like a teen by that point. So then, when I went to the military and I got out and was going to school, my video game experience sort of became almost nothing. I stopped playing games almost entirely. How long was the game in dev start to first release? Almost wondering how long I have been checking the damn phone. So we started development on this beginning of 2021. We released the first demo in April of 2021 and put it on Steam. And we released early access in July of 2023. We have been working on this game over 3 years. This is our 4th year. And when we first started, we said, small scope, we're just going to do a quick game, get it out there with a good aesthetic, But what happened was it got too much like steam to it. Like we got a lot of traction on Twitter. We had publishers reaching out. We talked to Gravity Game Arise, and they offered to support our funding needs. So we went like whole hog on it, and we had to like reevaluate how we're going to do things. Things I'm doing now, we thought we were never going to do with this project. I was very new to Unity. I have years of development experience, but Unity's a whole different ballgame. So I was also having to learn Unity and like figure out how to mash the Smile Game Builder engine into it. So it's just like a very interesting evolution overall. But we are constantly working. We have a huge release now that we have to get out with all the bug fixes. I saw just a second ago someone posted in Steam about the particular bug that I want to get fixed and pushed out. It's been really annoying. It's really frustrating from my end, knowing that users are also frustrated that, we want to push changes out, but we don't want to push changes out too soon when things might still be broken. So it's sort of this balance, We do have actual QA testers testing. We also always welcome people who want to provide testing, and we'll, put your name on the list of special things if you want to be part of that. But mostly it's a lot. We have a beta branch. So all the updates that we have now are available if you have early access. They're actually out there in a beta branch that we posted in our Discord and on the Steam community board. But we're not like, we don't publicize it a lot because because we suck. I'm a little busy. I don't know. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to try to get maybe this dot, no, map monster IDs dot. Can I do a try get? No. Okay. So then we're gonna do if is greater than count, and hey, look at that. Thanks, Copilot. You're really there for me, and I appreciate that. I'm glad I have you in my life, Copilot. You really change. Whoa, that's crazy. I don't want to do that either. You've really changed my life. I swear, like the thing that ChatGPT and others have helped me with isn't necessarily writing a bunch of code, although I've tried a few times. It's really dumb sometimes. But it's more about like the little things it's helped me with, kind of push me over the edge. I know some people don't care about story at all, but I love story-oriented games, so I don't know if I could play it very far without feeling like I'm spoiling future me. Yeah, catch up, I get that. And we've talked a lot about it. Our game has branching storylines, 3 characters that you can start with. They all start in the same area. Each of them have their own unique personalities, and as a player, you get to guide their choices. It's not. I was talking to Jacob about this. It's like Baldur's Gate Light. Like that's kind of what we're going. Like we want, even though it's a 2D RPG, like a lot of the ones that were recently released, they don't really give the depth that we want from the story or otherwise. And by recently, I mean within the last year and a half or so. And we like depth to story, and so you get a choice to respond certain ways, and your responses create different actions or outcomes. They're not as punishing. Like Chrono Trigger gives you options that can affect the future. Ours are more like options that affect your experience. So it's just a way to get a flavor, but you get to sort of direct how you respond. It's kind of driven by the player, and all the characters have their own unique behaviors and so on. So there's a lot to explore. I just recently added a feature that lets me sort of blanket add behaviors to our maps. Like there's a point in the game where you can pick flowers, and now every flower of that type is pickable in the game. And originally it wasn't that way because of the limitations of the engine, but I have killed the limitations. I'm very happy about that. Okay, so I don't want to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to say map character. I love books too, so I'm not against. Yeah, there are books in there as well. I haven't made the books collectible yet, but they will be. So there's lore knowledge that you can get, and once I implement the book feature, you'll be able to, every time you interact with a book, it'll become available just in a generic. It's like we also have like a monster, a bestiary. So anytime you fight a monster, it goes into the bestiary. Anytime you read a book, it'll go into like the ethereal book library or whatever. So there'll be a lot of that stuff too. It's a lot of content. But the problem is, like, because of the way this is developed, I don't want that. What am I doing? I don't want ROM monster. I want map character. Oh crap! That's not what I want. This is wrong. Okay, so it wasn't. Sorry, you did not do what I wanted you to do. Okay. There's gonna be a lot of lore, but the lore has built up. Like, we kind of had the idea of where we were going. So, like, the whole plot of the story was defined, funny enough, like, back in 2021. But the pieces of the story and how it fits together, we left some things open so we could figure out how it fits as we go. And so a lot of it just sort of bloomed and developed. And it's great to see how it all fits together, because we weren't really off with what we were going with, but there's some things that make more sense than others. So we kind of fit together better. Last RPG I love playing with Final Fantasy. Oh, well, Jacob really is into Final Fantasy. I feel like the genre is taking a breather, a very long breather. Final Fantasy era games are also something that very much are influences. I personally loved Chrono Trigger. I think that's the RPG I've played the most in my life. Is it Map Engine? No, it's Map Scene, isn't it? Yeah, here we go. Can I not try to get value? So I think I need to do like X dot X is gonna give it to you. Y is is like ROM. There we go. Sorry, I got distracted trying to write code. It's hard to code and talk. For me, at least. I've seen plenty of developers that can code and talk. But I'm not one of them. Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. Yep. Or even Game Boy Advance games. Was it Advance? Golden Sun? Which wasn't necessarily my favorite game, but not because of the game, but because of the way it ended. Every time Golden Sun comes up, I complain about how the game ended. It just felt like the developers got to a point like, well, guess we're out of time and money. Let's just release what we got. I hope that doesn't. Where's some wood? Knock on wood. Alterium Shift, Part 1. Then stay tuned for Part 2. Because it really feels like that's what happened. The studio just ran out of time. It's such a good game with a lot of really cool mechanics, but then they wanted to do all these like 7 different worlds or something, and then it just died. It's very unsatisfying of an ending for me. Okay, will this work? Maybe. If it's not null, we add it. And it might work. So let's find out. I liked a lot of the SNES era games. I never played Chrono Cross. I joined the military when PlayStation 2 was coming out, or I didn't get back into video games. I had this weird switch because I was such a gamer as a teenager, but then I just stopped. And even after I got out of the military, I wasn't too much into console games. I guess it's just because like there's so much time commitment you have to put into video games. I'd rather spend my life making video games than playing them. Well, now, I mean, I do have a day job, full-time career, but I can play video games at night or watch movies or something, or I can make games. The build is really slow right now because I have the debugger on. I wonder if I can just turn this off for now. Probably regret doing that. Okay, so let's go look at our planes and make sure that we have the bore associated. I'm trying not to be a bore. Okay, so let's see. We have the map event bore head. Okay, so this is there. Let's see what happens. Let's see what we got. Ketchup, I know that it said you were the first time chatter here, but I feel like I've seen you somewhere else. Have I seen you somewhere else? Your name looks very familiar. How in the world are you incorporating Smile into Unity? Is Smile open source? No. Do you know about Smile Game Builder? Now they have RPG developer botkeys, so they don't even do anything with Smile anymore. Unless they're fixing major bugs or something. Hey, I broke something. That's progress, right? Smile Game Builder has an export plugin. It is defunct, but we started doing this before it was defunct. And so it has an export to Unity. And when we did the demo, I started looking at the code because I had no idea how they did it. I mean, they essentially just like made their own retrofitting to hook in some of their like draw calls and stuff with the Unity draw calls. It's a pretty amazing set of engineering that they did. But I slowly over time figured out how to do it. Like this is their script runner. So the commands you see that run in Smile Game Builder, you know, they just have this thing called a script runner. But the funny part about this is, it was one of my favorite things to show if I can. There's so much code in this stupid class. So this, see how this is 285 right there? That's the line number. This is the end of that method. So, you know, 2,600 or so lines of code in one method. Pretty impressive, huh? And it's just a bunch of these case commands. This is how they do their commands. So when you define a command in Smile Game Builder, it's just a data set. It's an array of data that gets shoved into here, and then they process it. I mean, if you consider it, it's really fast, right? The developers who worked on Smile Game Builder not only worked on, one of them at least worked in like an RPG maker, but a lot of them come from the old school of making video games where you had to be really conscious of the performance, which you don't, it's not that you don't have to be now, but like you can refactor this into something manageable and it wouldn't hurt the performance, right? But, you know, this is, I'm sure a giant method with case statements is quite fast to execute. I know solid is guidelines, but yes, that's right. Single responsibility, open close principle, open close something. Is it principle? Liskov substitution principle. Not dependency inversion. It's interface segregation principle. Is that what it is? And dependency inversion. My favorite thing is to ask people that question on interviews, and then while I'm asking them, I'm looking it up to make sure I know what it is. I mean, usually I won't like do that and be mean and be like, I know everything. I'll be like, I don't know it fully either, but I know like the components of it. Wait, what did I get? Why did I get this error? What was this? Because there is no ROM for some of these, I think. So I have to say if x.rom does not equal null. That's the problem is. Because sometimes they have events on the map that don't have any ROM data. Which is kind of weird, but okay. No, I know why that is too. Okay. I can't do anything if I don't have the ROM data. So. Reload. Come on, you got it. You can do this. Don't crash, just work. Fine. Might take a moment. Definitely having its own time here. Solid. It's interesting trying to apply those sort of principles with a game dev engine that seems to, at every every spot, try to convince you to do the opposite of what a good practice is. It's amazing to me how the usage of static objects is just like rampant in game dev. And I fought it really hard when I started working in Unity, and then I just gave up. Because I'm just like, I don't want to try to apply all these principles while I'm also trying to learn how to write code. Now, after the fact, I can think of some ways to handle it better. But, you know, learning an engine and the engine's workflow and the way their object life cycle works, which is also really crazy, is a lot to take in. Did it compile or did it bug? So this might work. I know. If I get nothing else done tonight, I want that stupid boar on the map to move to a spot instead of just standing there frozen. I tried making top-down style before. You must have had a much better time with Z-sorting behind trees being in 3D. I made the games in PS1. Oh, you did PS1 development. You've been doing dev for a while. I feel like I've talked to you. Have I not talked to you before? Your name looks so familiar to me. I feel like I've seen Disc Ketchup before. Am I inventing that in my head? Am I going crazy? Probably. I haven't done game dev my entire life. I've tried to, I tried to do it in like simpler systems, but not in professionally. Why are they so big? I just realized those guys are huge. Why are they? I think there's a problem here. Why are they big and he's small? What is? How am I just realizing that? So weird. No, using RPG Maker from when I was a kid. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But you do development because you mentioned solid principles, so you know something about development. I didn't use RPG. It worked. I used Twitch to follow game dev and watch Castlevania. That's about it. So maybe that. Your name, but you said you were a first-time chatter, so I have no idea because I really feel like I've seen you around somewhere. Maybe in someone else's channel? Might have been. So it works. You notice the monster is now placed appropriately. So that means that the monster that was on the map is now being put somewhere. It took me a long time to arrive at that for such a simple thing. But I'll take it. I'm texting my partner on this because I just realized how Atlas's pixels are smaller too. So he must have half-size Atlas or something. I'm like, why is he so tiny? Yeah, but when I was 16 trying to make RPG, first experience of small idea is big in reality every time. First experience of small idea is big in reality. Yeah, well, and I would always try to scale my ideas back, and it would still get bad. Because I would always go off on tangents of, okay, now I got to make all the tools, and I've got to build the editor. Maybe I should make an RPG maker. And I would start, like, coding stuff that wasn't actually making a game. I think it was my way of avoiding making a real game, I'm guessing. But I finally did it. All it took was me turning 40. I'm just gonna, yeah, exactly, right? Like, the problem is, like, you have this vision in your head, you want to do a thing, and it's hard to let go of the thing that you want to do. And you're like, oh, but now I have to, like, lower my standards. I've had a career in technology, so I've been doing SaaS-based software development. I'm a chief technology officer by day, game dev at night. But it was actually right before the pandemic, literally right before the pandemic started, that I had made a decision to start working on game dev and not do anything else. We had a new baby coming, and who was a pandemic baby now, and I gave up all things. I said, I'm going to stop playing video games. I'm going to start doing YouTube videos. I'm going to use Smile Game Builder because it would seem the most approachable. Yeah, I know how to code, but I didn't want to waste my brain energy on trying to learn how to code and make a game. I wanted to force myself to try making games. And so I kept pushing at it. And then I saw Twitch. And I was like, oh, you can code and stream. And so I was like, oh, I should start doing that. And so I've used Twitch as a way to make myself work. Or not sometimes. Sometimes I make myself not work because I talk too much. But I still get work done. And I'm sort of beholden. Like, I feel like I have to get things done because I want to be able to show people stuff I did. What if I could do -3 and see what happens? The monster will, like, move back and up or something. This is before I'm going to apply my point system, but I just want to see. I just exited my 20s, finally feeling like my brain can cope with projects. Yeah, that's a good move. I was stuck in the must do from scratch or not real dev space. Usually in your 20s, that's what it's like. But I think, like, I understood that you can use existing tools, but I always wanted to build from scratch so I could learn how to do something. So I felt like there was value to doing it anyway, despite the fact that everyone's like, well, not invented here syndrome. And, you know, it did offer me opportunities to learn. But with game dev, actually, ironically, with game dev, I always wanted to use existing tool set. That's a good move. I was stuck in... Oh, wait, yeah, I just reread your thing. Sorry. I thought you got too high functioning there. Like, I always wanted a tool set that would solve my problems and not make me have to think too much, because I didn't want to worry about coding for games. I wanted to create the game. Like, I wanted to design it. But always too often I had to go in and, like, do coding, and the economy was not working for me. All right, so I'm just going to see if I moved the monster. And if I move the monster, then I'm going to try and see if I can get my grid to appropriately represent the monster position. But I'm going to do it differently from the way they do it. I'm going to have to figure out how that's going to work, actually. Now I have to dig in to see how they place their monsters. So funny, I've never noticed that Atlas is just literally smaller pixels than the other characters. Okay, so it did work. I moved the monster. In a weird way. But it doesn't matter. Okay. So then let's go look at how they place their monsters, because that's going to be important too. That's going to be in... I think it's still in here, right? So this value... Oh, crud. This is actually really funny to me that I went in and talked about how you shouldn't associate battle enemy data with an actor, but then you have a position here. Thanks for the follow, Disc Ketchup. Maybe I dreamed about meeting you online, and now I've met you. Well, you've got my vote. Can't wait to follow along and see the end product. Don't charge less than 30, please. Yeah, we'll probably... I mean, the price will increase. We are going to have a number of announcements soon to everybody about the changes and, you know, moving away from Gravity and not Gravity like the world, but Gravity the publisher, and what our roadmap's going to look like. we have been really impacted by the change. So we're trying to figure out how to wrangle our roadmap so we can hit a delivery date. But we're also going to PAX. And we may or may not be talking to other publishers. And I'm not one to be like, I'm going to completely throw out the idea of a publisher if we find the right one. But we have learned a lot about publishers. A lot. I didn't mean to click on that. I don't need to know what you did, Jacob. So yeah, we will probably end up charging around that or more, depending on what we price it out as. But right before we do the release, like maybe the quarter before we're gonna launch, we'll probably do a sale where we like do a major discount leading up to leading up to the full launch. How long are you guys projecting for casual playthrough? We just talked about that today. I'm going to guess it's about 15 to 20 hours if you're playing one character. Depends on how much so the game is structured where Act 1 and Act 2 are more linear. So it's not fully linear because you have 3 different characters and they start in the same place, but they kind of have different experiences. So they can branch in different ways. Like there's one time where a character can go past something everyone else has to walk the hard way, and there's another that if it reverses. So like there's a whole different experience you get by the different characters. But if you were to play one character all the way through, we're guessing is about 15 to 20 hours. Act 1 and Act 2 are much more linear. Act 3 is where everything opens up. So you will technically be able to get into Act 3, do like 1 or 2 quests, and then go straight to the end if you wanted to. I don't think most people will, but there'll be like a lot of different, either main quests or main adjacent side quests that you really should do, but they're not required, but they're not like they're not like minimal ones. Like some of them would get you another character, for instance. So it'd be kind of worthwhile to do it. But there's another component to the game that it's designed for you to go back and play as the other characters. And that's another thing we were talking about today is that we don't want people to feel like they have to slog through the game 3 times to get the full experience. So your first playthrough is going to be the longest. And if you decide to go back as other characters, there'll be things that make it easier by virtue of the fact that you kind of trailblaze with one character so that you can get farther faster with the other characters. So overall, if you were going to play through all 3 characters, it might be somewhere like 20 to 30 hours or so. We've got some really interesting ideas about that. And I don't even mind sharing some of it. So, spoiler alert. I mean, it's not too spoilery. In the first act, you get to find out that there's like a whole different place that you go to. I don't want to spoil it for you because you said you liked the story, so I'm not going to spoil it. But we were inspired by Chrono Trigger. We're not following the Chrono Trigger model to a T. We're not like, even though we have some callbacks, we're not saying like, point for point copying how Chrono Trigger did things. But we are heavily inspired by some of the story elements and, the liveliness of the characters and so on. So it's not a time travel game. Though some people, in certain cases, they might think it is. It's not. It's not a game about going back in time or going forward in time. There's one timeline that exists, but we play a lot with the idea of your save files and stuff. Like the save files they're not... Well, the save files themselves are kind of immutable, but the experience is not immutable from save files. There's things that actually affect the game in any save file based on what you do in one save. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how that develops for people. Anyway, so I got the point working. I got to see how they do the drawing of the maps. But it didn't seem like much, but getting that boar to show up on the map, I'm actually quite excited about. It took me like 25 hours to beat Final Fantasy VII, so I'd probably charge 60 by the time you finish. Because the work you put in, coupled with people associating money and value, charge too little, attract too little. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the problem is it's an indie game, and there are enough market-based releases that we might have to like, we might be limited by what the market takes, right? So like Wandering Sword is $24.99. And I'm pretty sure they're like what is it? Main story is 37 hours of gameplay. So there is an aspect of being an indie studio in an indie game where people aren't going to pay $60 for an indie game, right? If Square came to us and we decided to like sign on with them, like let's pretend that happened, right? That would make a case. They would like fully operationalize the cost of that because it would then become something bigger. But in indie games, it's harder to justify making people pay that much. I mean, this game is 54 hours of gameplay, and they charge $24.99. Granted, they also sold like hotcakes. Oh my god, they sold better than Sea of Stars and Chained Echoes. I think combined. I can't even remember what they were at. If you guys don't know about SteamDB and you're interested in game stuff, you should check it out because it tells you information. Let's see here, charts. So yeah, so according to VG Insights, which is fairly accurate, I would say this is either 150 to 200K, but it's not going to be much wild swing. So with this, and then Sea of Stars sold about like 300,000, and Wandering Swords at like the 500K unit sales. So like we would have to be somewhere in the ballpark of what these other games sold at. Line's blurry. People are more impressed with Hollow Knight than 80%. True. If only they could release their next version of their game. If only they could finally release the next one. Team Cherry is really taking Silk Song seriously, I guess. I don't even I haven't been following the drama of it, but why are they taking so long to launch this game? Did they get was it one of those things where they had so much success with Hollow Knight that they're like, now we have to make this one even better, and so that ruined the game for them? Yeah, one thing I can assure you with Dratzy Games, if we're able to take this and be successful, that this could be our job. To us, transparency is super important, and it may not always seem that way because on the Steam board, someone's like, "Is the game dead?" Like, no, we do communicate, but in different channels, obviously. I don't mind sharing. I think we should share where we're at and explain why we're there. And maybe that can backfire. People will be unhappy anyway. I don't know. But I don't see any reason not to tell people what's going on. I like sharing the journey and what we've learned and where we've failed and what we need to improve. To me, those are things that should be part of game development. I don't care what size of studio you are. I know that the reason that a bigger studio probably doesn't want to share as much is not only to kind of build up the hype for the launch, but because competitors can then undercut you, right? But at least in our position, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's incredibly difficult to make someone else's game. I'm fine with waiting for quality. No issue waiting this time for Metroid Prime 4. Just don't give a release date and miss it, then disappear. Yeah, right. I get that. And we've tried it. We've really been trying to drive toward release dates that we've sort of... The first date we said, oh, this is when to release. And then we were like, well, tentatively we're trying for this time frame because it's really hard to nail down. Even if the game was done, release dates can be a bit hard to estimate. Because there's things like other people releasing, there's things, events that happen that you might want to release around or after, so you're not losing the hype or whatever. Just finding the sweet spot, it's got to be something magical. Okay, so let's go look at how this works. I think this is where they place the position of the character. Right here, reset state. So that what do? They do get position here. Result.x. Okay, so they're using the center of the field as the guide point for positioning. I wonder how I'm going to do this. So the reason that the positioning is like negative value. So the center point of the field, X and Y values. In the course of this map, I want to look at it here. It's easier to see. I've been really fascinated. So I have not worked in the games industry other than this game stuff. I've worked in healthcare. I've worked in general consulting, you know, like Coke and Pepsi and the International Olympic Committee. Like I've done a lot of things with a lot of different companies. I've worked in automotive, digital marketing. I've done education work. I've never once been interested in how the industry operates. Not once. As a technologist, I'm like, give me a problem and I'll solve it. Tell me what you want, I'll solve it. But games industry, I'm actually genuinely interested in. So I'd love to find a way to be in the industry more because it's very fascinating to me how the interplay of creating consumer-based product, video games that's entertainment-driven, works compared to all these other industries that are more B2B focused. Okay, so what they do when they have battle, if this is the center point, for instance, it's like 39-28. Then if the front is -2 and the other one is +1, it would go 1, 2, and 1. Which I think is roughly where the character ended up before. Oh, I think the point was here, though. So the problem is that the way they calculate it... Actually, I think they do it this way, don't they? So it would be 1, 2, and then... No, it seemed to be the wrong way, so now I'm confused. It doesn't account for the rotation of the map. So one problem with my current setup, using this like grid placement, which is here. This is presuming that the front is based on the camera angle. But that means I need to translate this to something that represents the perspective of the camera. And I feel like that's going to require math to figure out. Hey, Pumpkin, thanks for the lurk and the hi. I hope that you're doing well. I think, did you get a shout out? You didn't get a shout out. I hope that you're having a lovely evening and that you sleep well. Thanks for popping in, Momo. Lurk your face off. Oh, you're really buff these days. So part of me almost feels like instead I should try to do the direct placement solution for now. Or I don't want to do this. Video games feel like an honest place. Make a game that's just to push make a game that's just to push a political view. The nerds show you that its value. Different taste, but it feels like the last place that capitalism is functioning like it should. Bad game, bad sales. Good game, good sales. Not always. Sometimes bad games seem to sell. With some exceptions, but on the whole, that's what it seems. Yeah, I think that when you get into... Because video games is entertainment. It's the entertainment industry. It's content consumption. And so the interesting part about that to me is that when you make, without me being an expert, just by observation, when you make content that gets consumed, you're tailoring like the content that gets consumed to a broader base. You know, just making something that someone can watch is different than making something that they have to engage their time and play. There's more energy required to play a video game. So the user base is smaller, even though the industry seems like it's large. The entertainment industry is huge. Video games is smaller. And it's interesting how people interpret something and the way they want to experience the game versus the way the developer wants them to experience the game. And so many developers, especially in the indie space, that I have seen have a vision of what they want their game to be. And a lot of them don't like it when they get feedback that is in opposition to it. This is generalizing. I'm not saying every developer I know is like this. I have seen plenty of examples where someone gets really upset that the general community is like, we don't like this thing that you're doing. And what I find interesting is, for me, I don't care as much. Like, I care about a game that will have a broad appeal because I want to sell it to a lot of people. And I have a vision for what the game should be. But if feedback makes sense, I'm going to incorporate it into what we're doing. I'm not going to be like, well, I don't like that because that's not how I like to play the game. There were a number of things I was really stubborn about because we're trying to make a retro game and everyone's like, I want a mini map. I want all these modern day features. And some of them I've just acquiesced to because, like, fine, everybody wants it. But it's like it loses some of the retro feel, but then addresses things people want. So, but more bad movies sell well because it's only an hour. Right. So, correct. That's correct. And what people believe makes something good or bad doesn't necessarily indicate it is good or bad, right? And from a video game perspective, not necessarily movies, although that can be true too. Like, video games take investment of your time. There's equipment you have to buy to use it, so you got to pay for that. There's if you're going to use it on your TV or whatever, you've got to buy the game or media, so you're committed to it. Then you've got to spend your time doing that versus something else. And the opportunity cost of playing a video game versus watching a movie, there's like a whole different thing there. I put bad on low effort more than taste. Fair. Although there are some low effort games that have done quite well, so that's funny too. So anyway, I'm so intrigued by that whole experience, though. Just by being through this process and seeing how people interpret things. A lot of people, from my experience, that give negative feedback usually immediately assume that the developers are going to like be upset with them or ignore them or something else negative, right? And we don't always love the feedback we get, but we try not to be like publicly upset with people, right? It's like sometimes I think people are kind of rude, but we don't respond to the rudeness. We respond to the substance of what was being said. Because just like people who will invest their time to watch a movie or play a video game, even if someone really hates something about your game, if they're willing to go into your forum or your Discord and say, I'm really upset by this thing, you have to realize that that is engagement. Like, they're engaging with you. Even if they're like cursing your name, they're engaging with you. Now, some people might be trolling you, but my experience has been most people have a genuine feeling, and sometimes I think they're right, and sometimes I think they're wrong, but they're providing engagement, which means they spent their time to say something. I always appreciate that, actually. Even when I don't appreciate some of the things they talk about, I actually appreciate that notion. Lots of movies are expensive and lots of people making them, but the effort in the story dialogue is garbage. Yeah. Oh no, I've come out from Lurk for this conversation. Personally, I don't like calling media art good or bad. Not everything is for everyone. It's also about entertainment, not about the effort, and most artists don't want to hear that. It's also about entertainment and not about the effort. I guess so. I mean, but the thing is, like, there's one thing about what I would prefer to hear and what, like, genuinely people are going to use to term things, right? Like they're going to think something is good or bad. They're going to categorize it by the experience they had. People are going to critique it. There's going to be reviews. There's going to be whatever, right? And so even if the artists themselves feel like it was the best thing they ever made, the majority of people could say, oh, it's a 1-star game or something, right? And I don't know what makes people like or dislike things overall. There's like the general masses. Like the reason Marvel movies are the formula they are is because the studio said, wow, that formula works. We're going to keep making that kind of cookie cutter formula because people liked it before, until that runs out. And then we've got to try something new once we stop making money out of it, right? Then there's a whole business side of it. But there's got to be, I mean, like, I understand that we don't like calling it good or bad, but there's got to be some judgment that exists, right? From the personality perspective, if good or bad means that the human that did it is a good or bad person, that's one thing. But if good or bad is like someone's perspective of the thing that they've been placed in front of, people do that all the time. We judge things everywhere we go. It's like there's the I wish it wasn't so judgy of a world view. And by the way, Pumpkin, I'm not trying to diminish. Sorry, let me just be clear, because I'm reacting to your statement because I'm a contrarian. I'm looking at the view. I'm not saying, Pumpkin, you're wrong. We shouldn't say things are good or bad, right? So I just realized that I was kind of doing that, just to be clear. I wasn't trying to like say, Pumpkin, you're wrong about your views. But I have this sort of internal perspective that I want things to be a certain way, but I understand that they are a way that maybe isn't aligned with what I want. Like the way business works. I was just talking with someone about, I'm talking about this on the stream, that games that make money over time, like MRR, monthly recurring revenue, are good for businesses. So gacha games or online games where you can get regular income are good for companies to continue to make money, to exist. And games that require you to invest a lot of time and money before you start realizing that are much more risky. And going back to, like, if you talk about the mob of consumers, not the individuals, but like the general way our society works right now, it's super risky to bet all your money on releasing a game thinking that there's going to be something coming back to you. Not just like, even if people would love your game, but just you can't get in front of them. Or, you know, your game is great, but maybe you missed a decade. And if you released it 10 years ago, it would have been great. But now people have moved on and they're interested in other things. Consumers are fickle. The market is saturated. Even doing niche games. So like, there's so much risk tied up into launching games. There's no wonder that these bigger companies, these AAA companies, or even AA or single A's, they try to play it safe and they hit the scope of the market they think will be good. Yeah, they try to also release a game that's good, but look at Cyberpunk, right? The publishers pushed to release the game before it was ready. Why? Because they wanted to start realizing their money sooner. And there was a lot of hype. And there's a lot of money spent on it. And they ended up having to spend more money to fix everything after they released a really bad product. But people still play it. So it must not have been a terrible game. That's what I meant. I don't judge good or bad on taste. What's good or bad, in my opinion, is based on the heart and effort put into it. Well, but Pumpkin saying that even effort, I think you were saying, let's see, I'm not calling good or bad. Not everything is for everyone. Also, it's about entertainment, not effort. It's about entertainment and not about the effort. And most artists don't want to hear that. Most artists don't want to hear, because you could have something that you put tons of effort in and no one's entertained by it. If there's money above the desire to share an experience, that's bad to me. Well, but money is how our society works. I've been so it's so interesting as I've been, I've had my own business. I have a business now. I've worked in business, and businesses are compelled to take actions to continue to make money to exist. That is sort of the nature of capitalism, or just business itself. Like they're like sharks. If they stop swimming, they start dying. And so if a decision might be morally right or ethically right, but not good for business, there is an inherent conflict. If a decision to do something that is passion based won't produce income, then they won't make a passion based decision. They'll make the one that's going to make the money. And there are, and the thing is, like, if you talk about natural selection, if you apply it to business, people who have gone towards passion but not succeeded, that kind of dies, right? And the ones that found success without using passion, they succeeded. And I don't think your average consumer always knows whether the company that does something actually had passion, or they did it because most people will pay for it. Money isn't bad. The Star Wars and Harry Potter movies are both formulaic and are beloved. It's perception based. But for me, that desires to share experience is the primary. Money is a need of life. No, and I'm not saying that you're anti-money or business. My self-reflection is in doing the game dev and kind of putting myself out there and doing things that are creative, and then seeing what happens with that. I've realized just by the looking at the Unity situation and how everything went down there, and how like there's this inherent conflict between average consumers, like just people who buy stuff, and people who make stuff, and this perception of like evil corporations because they're not doing things that are good, or that we deem as good, or morally good, or right, or just, even if there's opposition between the consumers of what's considered good or not. Like good as in morals and values, not good as in the product itself, right? And it's just interesting to think of it from the business side and say, what is the alternative? There's a million different opinions on what the alternatives are, but the businesses that make the decisions that continue them to exist are the ones that they're going to make, if they can. I'll also say that most businesses, I don't think, know what the heck they're doing. Some of them are just really lucky. So, survivor bias is a real thing. Some of them get so large that they can just survive all the ups and downs. So my reaction to all the statements isn't really about like opinion. It's actually me stepping outside of my opinion, because I also wholeheartedly agree that we should make things with passion and interest, and we should try to improve and make things better. There are so many things in our game we should just never have done, but it's like, we got to do this because this is the right thing to do. If we were just chasing money, we would have released the game by now. But we suffer for it. We suffer for the art or whatever, right? Some very popular and entertaining things were made with very little effort, and some unpopular and unentertaining things were made with extreme amount of efforts. It's a nice sentiment to say you judge based on effort, but most of the time people have no idea what effort did or didn't do. Yes. You phrased my exact thoughts much better than I could. I would disagree that effort put in is invisible in the end product. Well, yes. I think there's also a matter of like the consistency of what the output of the effort is. High effort could also be based on experience. So artists that are super experienced might take less effort but produce a better result. But that effort is built up over X number of years of experience doing things with more effort, concrete examples, if you want to call out, would be good, but I don't know where we are now in this conversation. We're talking about the idea that something being good or bad. And what was that? Hello? I swear I saw somebody walk over in front of my camera. Maybe it's just a ghost in the house. Lopar is good at saying words. What's interesting about it's just an age-old question of value, really. Well, and one of the things I remember when I had my consulting company. So I believed very strongly in doing software consulting that I should offer the high effort value, high quality resources. I didn't want to be a consulting shop that just churned out bodies that did like low quality work, because I believed in the value of doing good quality code and solving problems appropriately and so on and so forth. And something stuck with me because we actually got like a company to do our taxes, but one of the guys came in and was talking about how to make decisions on business, and he drew a grid or a graph, and he said there's these quadrants. From you guys' perspective, let's see, there's a top right, whatever. I'm not gonna worry about the boxes. I could just draw boxes, I guess. So maybe I'll do that. Because I found it very interesting. Here, let's pick a box. So he drew a graph that was basically like a set of quadrants, of 4 quadrants, about where you want to be in business when you're doing your work. And I can't remember, like, I think something's like out, like reward or whatever. I can't remember what the axes were, but basically you see like, well, you want to be here. You want to be low effort and high value, right? I'll just put an L. And LV, low effort, high value. And there's another quadrant that's like high effort and high value, and low effort and low value. Is that where it goes? I can't I wish I could remember what it looked like now. I have to go look it up. But essentially there's 4 quadrants where you're basically talking about you want to find something where you're not putting much effort into it, but you're getting money out of it. So you don't necessarily chase work where you have to do a lot of work for it, even though you're getting paid well. Oh, it's like high effort, high value, right? So it's like high and low high and high low high, whatever. I'm sorry that I'm stupid and I can't remember the stupid grid. But what stuck with me about it was, if you're going to do that, you just do work that gets you income without you spending much time doing it. So you find passive income, you find work where you can get, enough of a margin that you're getting income from it, but it may not be very high quality work. Doesn't really matter. And you don't chase after work where you do, really high amount of effort, even if you get high value out of it. Oh yeah, the other one was like you do high effort but low value, right? Which is like the worst at the bottom, the top, whatever it is. And it always stuck with me because it was in opposition to what I wanted to do. I'm always like, I'm going to put high effort and get high value, but it doesn't pan out. You usually have to have a mix of it all. Okay. Sorry, I'm soapboxed and not working because Pumpkin said they were going to go to bed, but then Pumpkin started talking, and then Lopar showed up, besides Ketchup getting me off tangent. How did we even start this conversation? How did we even get here? I'm fine with waiting for quality. Is that how it started? Video games feel like an honest place. Let me show you. Oh, we were talking about how people evaluate games and what the sales mean. So we were talking about bad game, bad sales, good game, good sales, and the difference between movies. And you said you put bad and low effort more than taste. Okay. You showed up. I've done that to you before, Pumpkin. It's fine. I just wanted to make sure I remembered how we started. Because I'm a contrarian. Yeah, well. I think that there is a false equivalence of whether a game is good or bad. Good or bad as judged by whether people buy it and how it was made. I don't think even though it seems like there's a correlation, I don't think there's a correlation. There is certainly a or maybe not more like a causation. Sorry. There's no I don't think there's a causation. There's probably like some light correlation between the two, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're directly related. There certainly are games people have made really fast and also made lots of money. It's a small percentage. That might be the edge case. But, I've seen people who spent 5 years making a game and did not get a good output from it. People poured their heart and soul into games. And there's tons of stories about that. There's more stories about that than the reverse, actually. There's more stories about high effort and no reward in game dev than there is the reverse of low effort and high reward. You can't really use games like what's the one where you farm? Star something. Pumpkin Day should know because they have a game like that. Stardew Valley, there you go. I don't know why I could. Yeah. Right. Stardew is a game where someone spent years and years and years making it and had big rewards. Stardew Wally, yeah. But that's not, so many people make games and nothing happens, right? Flappy Bird, right? I know, Flappy Bird, someone found the right sort of addiction to hit with people. And that's what's interesting, like the whim. So really, to me, that's what makes the game dev industry seem so backwards. So from my experience with the few publishers I've talked to, the one publisher we had, and many other people we've talked to, there is this sense in the industry that what you do to have a successful launch is you wait until the last minute and then you blitz the market and try to get consumers interested in your game. It seems so backwards to me, yet it must work. And yet people still use Flappy Bird as an introductory tutorial game. The thing is, if you're going to be an indie dev, I don't know why you would spend 3 years or 2 years or however many years making a game and think if you have no sort of audience that you're just going to launch it and it's going to take off. I don't understand how that is the mentality. And I think maybe it's because on the bigger game side, people can do that because they already have their network and awareness and people know the studio. But if you don't have a studio that's known, I have no idea how people think they're going to make a game and launch it and find success. Make one in 2 seconds then. I think the issue is the top of the game is art, but also business, and art and business are often at odds with each other. Well, that's where people would say that game dev isn't art. I read once, you hit that point, then you take at least 6 months for marketing prior to launch. Well, no. Then you spent 3 years to find out your game has no interest in the market. I mean, you might think your game is amazing, but until you validate it, you have no idea. And I know that some people do still launch that way, and sometimes they're successful. But once you've launched the game, like launched it, early access still gives you a little bit of time, but once you fully launch the game, there's only diminishing returns after that. You know, it's a rare exception that a game that's already been launched suddenly picks up for some reason. So I don't know if you're doing an indie game why you wouldn't want to start getting the information out there and then seeing how people respond. I'd rather know within the first 6 months of working on a game if there is actually building interest. Because if there's not, it might be time to switch to something else. Perfect World, we can just do art and release, but unfortunately, I know that's the one problem is like you can't just do it that way, you know. And okay, so a studio launches a game. Let's say they make $10 million. Let's say that happens, right? $10 million really doesn't go that far. After you take away taxes, you pay any employees or contractors, you pay licensing things, you know, you end up with much less. Then you say, great, I'm going to make another game. Well, you got a very short runway because whatever money's left from whatever you made, it might grow a little bit, but it's not going to go much farther than that. That's what you got to make your next game. It's like this, then you got to make your next one, and you got to make your next one. Unless you're doing a game that gets in, you know, regular income, like a gacha game, one that you maintain but you make income back from it. Pumpkin, you have learned that great experience, haven't you? It's terrifying. I agree. I think part of it's the time commitment. Also, some people are scared others will copy their ideas. Yeah. The taxes. Yeah, taxes is just... You need to code and do your stuffs, right? I love the notion that people are scared of sharing their ideas because someone will steal it. And the reason I love it is because I reflect on my experience in game dev or my experience being a SaaS developer, just working in, you know, web application development industry. Everybody has the next great idea. There is never a lack for ideas. And I used to feel that way too. Like I didn't want to share my ideas because I didn't want someone to steal it. Nobody wants your idea. They want their idea. They don't want your idea. They'll be like, yeah, that's interesting, but what about my thing that I want to do? Which is why it's so hard to get people to work with on games, because the ideas are so varied. Like finding a team that's willing to work on the same idea is amazing. Then you're the one guy. Nah. I mean, unless you have some mechanic that's really that unique, it's just not going to happen. Ideas are a dime a dozen. The one guy, the one person who came up with something and someone stole it, like, yeah, that sucked. If you think you have that idea, like you've tested against a bunch of people, like, wow, I love this thing. Fine, but then your speed to market needs to really bump up, right? You need to go and make that game and launch it. You do the Flappy Bird style, get it out there. But I think in general, that's not going to happen. No one's going to want to build your idea. And I also think that the thing that gets lost is that video game making isn't a zero-sum game. Speaking of game theory. The video game market, the content market, it's not a zero-sum game. All right, good night, Pumpkin Days. Hope you sleep well, finally. I know, well, listen, you know, the only way to prove me wrong is to do it, I guess. I don't know. Do what you want. Like, the thing is, we've had this game out for 3 years. We've been pushing updates and things like that. It's posted. It's harder to get recognized and known. We still get people that show up on our stream and like, what's this game? We have 16K followers on Twitter. We've been pushing things out there. We have early access launch. Every day we still get people who discover our game. It's been out there for 3 years. So no, I'm not worried about it. If someone was going to steal our idea, that would have happened by now. Too much work. I could literally give someone the source code and they still wouldn't be able to do something with it because it's too much. So I don't, like maybe if it's some niche idea that's new and unique, but I don't think that's a majority of games. And I don't think that's going to be a problem for most people. I used to feel the way that you're talking about, Ketchup, but I don't anymore. Not after going through what I went through. And what they're saying is it's not a zero-sum game. So if you look at it like... I'd send it to you, Lopar. You would be like, puke. I'm not using Unity. I would say that when people look at it like it's a competition where there can only be one winner, then they will think that they have to hide their ideas. But you could have multiple games in the same genre and all of them could do well. In fact, audiences that exist in a certain genre can help your genre. It doesn't help if you make carbon copies of someone else's game or you don't do anything to innovate. But as long as you are doing something that is in a genre that has shared interest and you're not just, completely doing a poo-poo job of it, there's plenty of stuff to go around. I'm not worried it's being stolen. I'm worried the computer won't steal them correctly from my brain. That's true too. Let me print it and staple it all over my walls. Motzi's the reason I can't be a winner. Yeah, sorry, Sorrow. I'm not afraid of using Unity. I'm afraid of dying of old age before Unity starts. Yeah, I haven't done any compiles since we've been talking, so I get it. I think I've lost the battle of actually writing code. Yeah. So like, let me frame it up. There is a group of developers who are making games right now. You're younger than me, Lopar. That's true. There's a group of developers making games. Why do you think my hair is gray? All the Unity startups. In a similar genre. There's let me go get them all. I wish I should have actually. Do I have them in here? I don't even remember my stupid commands. Where are they? I think I have all their commands. I think I added all of them, but I didn't actually name them properly. Legacy. Oh, Shrine's Legacy. I guess Shrines? No. Shrines? Shrines. So Shrine's Legacy and something Wanderer. I can't remember all the names of their games. But we have a little group going, a little game dev network of all the people making similar games. And we're fine sharing ideas, mutually working together. There's some really amazing games out there too. I just wish I was better at looking at this list. Here. Discord. Other Discord. I mean, I can play more than one game. Yeah, I wish I had. I need to make one command that puts them all up there. Yeah, there's 12 Dark Souls every day. You can play more than one game if you want. I guess that's why I don't worry about, no one's going to steal it. No one's going to take Alterium Shift and make our game. They might make a derivative, I guess. The community's pretty punishing to people who completely steals. Lopar, stop being so cheeky. Okay, so what I was trying to do when we last saw our hero Matzi. Anyone know a simple algorithm for determining an offset based upon where the camera is? Alterium Shift. Alterium Shift. Control Alterium Shift. Oh man. Maybe my brain has stopped working. I have hit 11 o'clock. So rather than do anything else, what I'll do is I'll do one more build just to mess with the placement. Because I'm going to have to think about how this grid placement works. Because I really have no idea how I'm going to do that. And after talking and not coding, my coding brain has shut down. Literally just not working anymore. No more coding brain. I'm going to do like -3, -3 and see what we do here. Let's see where we end up. There's no need to be so upset. Lopar, should we do another joint stream sometime? Would you want to do that? Maybe on a Saturday? Then we can talk while you code. Don't do joints. Do you want to do maybe some heroin or something? Casual. Drug offering is casual. I'm kidding. Don't do drugs. I don't like needles. But look, Lopar, have I shown you this? Did I show you where I was at here? I forget. I wish you said that sooner. Uh-oh. Well, you're in for the ride of your life, Ketchup. Or so I've heard. I wouldn't know personally. I actually have never done any illegal drugs, ever. And I'm not even saying that for the sake of me being on stream. Look on map, Lopar. Look at that. So what I was trying to figure out was how to associate so there's going to be two ways in which I can set map battles. Of course, everything is going slow. One will be to use offset gridding. So what I would have to do is, based on the center point, determine where to place the monsters based on the camera. Because the one problem is, because the camera shifts, I want to treat it like whatever the camera is, we're calculating the offsets. I don't exactly know how to do that, and I might have to like do some braining of some sort. I'm actually going to make it too where I won't even make the camera move sometimes. So in this case, I really shouldn't have moved the camera. In this map here, that particular battle really, I love that it's all moved because of the camera. The battle should be taking place this way. There's no reason to shift the camera because of the way the monster comes out. So I'm going to have to be able to like specify a gridded location so we can have some like default layouts without having the camera play into it, which is going to be annoying. Or I guess there's a way to translate it. I just don't know how. Got to figure that out. I am going to add a thing where I can specify actual coordinates. So like, I don't have a good way to do this within Unity, so I'll just go to this and be like, oh, I'll put the monster here, and I'll put the monster, and I'll just find the coordinate, which is at the bottom of the window. And so I'll just like specify it exactly. But you know, if I'm going to do a gridded based away, I'm going to have to figure out how to do the offsets. Because it'll have to be like, if it shifts here, then I want it still to be looking like it was sideways or something. Or maybe my whole idea of using a grid is bad and we should just use actual coordinates. I don't know. Probably not though, because if I knew it was going to shift, then I would make the coordinates up here instead of, I don't know. So I'll figure that out. But that's going to be me braining afterward, because you guys all got me monologuing for a while. And I can feel my voice running out of juice. Would it be easier to jump main character to a position based the rest on their position? No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where I do it, because I have to account for the the camera angle. And I am going to have it so I can either set the center point or make it based on where the character interacted. Right now, I'm just forcing the characters to go to their position, but I'm going to make them actually like either jump or run to their positions as well. So again, at the moment, it's just the sort of, did I run the credits? I forget. It's just me getting things positionally oriented, because again, this engine didn't have on-map battles. I don't even know if their RPG developer Bakin has on-map battles, which is kind of crazy to me. So I've been retrofitting their system, and I just have to figure out how to get all the pieces to fit together. Anyway, should I go see some coders? Who should we go see? There's Practical NPC on my list, and there's Jitspo. Those are the only two that I have on my list. I have Incarn too. Let's see what they're doing. Thanks, Laser. I'll get it figured out, hopefully by the next stream. It was a busy week this week, so I didn't get as much time coding as I wanted. Let's see. Jitspo's working on Paintball 2? Did Jitspo make the paintball game? That's cool. Yeah, thanks for the follow. Thanks for all the chat, too. I'll go see Practical NPC. I haven't rated him in a while. I might know a few things, but I don't think chat back and forth would be the best way to try to figure it out. If I need something, I'll let you know. I'll probably figure it out. I have to figure it out when I'm not streaming. After all that talking, my brain stopped working. So I have to re-engage brain when I can do it separately. But I'll have my people call your people about maybe a joint stream in the near future, Lopar. Otherwise, y'all have a great night. Thanks for hanging out tonight and listening to the blabber. I'll be back on Tuesday, and maybe I'll have some more interesting battle stuff to do. We'll see.